Roope Hintz is having another remarkable season with the Dallas Stars and is still the most underrated player in the National Hockey League. We preview the Anaheim Ducks, and we have an update down on the farm. That and more coming up next on Locked On Stars.
Your Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan and play-by-play voice of the Chippewa Steel. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Time and time again, it feels like Roope Hintz puts up amazing numbers and has such a huge impact on the Dallas Stars, but is very underrated in the landscape of the National Hockey League, but not here on Locked On Stars. We will highlight the incredible season he is having. We preview the Anaheim Ducks, a team the Stars have not seen since the third game of the season when they won on the road. Just a few more home games before wrapping up before the All-Star break. And we have an update down on the farm with the Texas Stars, who are having a very tough month, to say the least. And we will leave it at that for now. I hope you're having a wonderful Thursday and a wonderful week as well. Thank you so much for rocking along with me every single day. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Never miss an episode of Locked On Stars. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Roope Hintz is the most underrated player in the National Hockey League. And you should be proud, Stars fans, because he's going to be here for a very, very long time. Just signed an 8-year deal not too long ago. And it's a shame he's never cracked the top 10 in Selke voting in his career with the body of work he has put in with the Dallas Stars. Very rarely do I come away from a game thinking, man, Roope Hintz was in the wrong spot there. Man, where was Roope Hintz? What was he doing? He was out of position. Almost never. His willingness to defend, first off, is sensational. How many times this season have I seen Roope Hintz tying a guy up right in front of Otter or Wedgwood on the top of the crease, poking a puck away from what would be a would-be goal for an opponent? I feel like it's nightly. He does this. His willingness to engage physically and tie bigger guys up and just have an impact on the game from a full 200 feet perspective. It's such a luxury to have in a centerman. And he's having another phenomenal year. 45 points in 45 games. He leads the Stars with 22 goals. It's also pretty remarkable. He's never crossed the 40-goal threshold. That's partially due to the fact that he usually misses a stretch of games. Just seems to be kind of Roope Hintz, right? He misses 8 to 10 games a year. He's only missed a few this season. Knock on wood, because if he stays healthy, it just feels like a matter of time for Roope Hintz. He has 7 points in his last 5 games. And the thing that really sticks out to me about Roope and what makes him so valuable, with all the changes we've seen in lines this season or just in the past, Roope Hintz has been a fixture on the top line. And Jason Robertson is up there as well, but they've tried to move Robo around this season too. The common denominator is Roope Hintz, along with Robertson and Pavelski, or Robertson and Hintz, Pavelski and Ben, Pavelski and Seguin. We've seen some different trios. The common denominator is always Roope Hintz, and he's so fun to watch. He's one of the few players in the National Hockey League, too. I don't think many other players could keep up with them when he's at full flight. He's up there in the echelon of maybe a McDavid and McKinnon. And look, those are generational talents, and I'm not putting him up there in terms of goal scoring ability and production and just overall players. But like speed wise, to take the top off of a defense, so to speak, I think Roope Hintz is right up there. And yes, he's the most underrated player in the National Hockey League. This is what really sticks out to me too. When you look at the Dallas Stars as a whole, who offensively have been one of the best teams in the National Hockey League this season. That's not debatable. 3.66 goals per game this year. But when you look at the Corsi percentage, Roope Hintz leads the way in all situations, 57.3%. He's been so good. At even strength, he's just as good. Goals for per 60, Roope Hintz, 4.6. He leads the team. Such a great defender, as I noted. Never do I leave a game thinking, what was Roope Hintz doing? He tracks back hard. He marks his man. His stick is always in the right position. He is so good on the little breakout plays that you have to make in tight spaces in order to get out of your own zone too. It's something that's been such a great characteristic of his new line mates in Robertson and Johnston as well, that they get out of their zone quickly. They can create off the rush, and they're not playing in their defensive zone very much too. And Roope Hintz deserves his flowers, right? When you look at centers in the Central Division, or actually you look at centers just across the National Hockey League, and you look at his player card, he's a current net rating of +13. This is via The Athletic. It kind of takes in everything into account for his seasonal production, as well as forecasting for the entire year. So a +12 offensive rating and a 0 defensive rating, which is very, very good for a forward. And his salary is just so perfect. Shout out to Jim Neal for that one, because the Stars get repaid with that every single day. And also he will be around for a while. He's never scored double-digit goals on the power play, which is pretty crazy too. Just 9 goals a season ago and 9 goals prior. He has 5 this season. It feels like with how talented he is, he's going to cross that mark as well. He's been really good on the power play in terms of facilitating this season, has 7 assists on the man advantage, which is third most on the team, but he just does so much. 54% in the face-off dots as well. Just a true all-around player. He has to crack the top 10 in Selke voting. Otherwise, yeah, he will continue to be the most underrated player in the National Hockey League. His body of work that he has put together in a Stars uniform is nothing short of sensational. And I think we should never take for granted how great he is in all 3 zones of the ice. And I'm not saying anybody is, because here on Locked On Stars, and all of you Locked On Stars fans are singing his praises in the comment section. And like I said, he's the common denominator on that top line. He is the driver of the offense because he's so fast. He's so shifty. He can make things happen in a blink, just like the few goals he scored yesterday, or not yesterday, a few days ago, I should say, in Detroit. Just all of a sudden he's on you, and then boom, it's in the back of your net. And him at full flight is so graceful. And watching him play with anybody at any time, he just gets the job done, whether that's in the defensive zone. And he's playing a bit less than he ever has, just averaging over 17 minutes of time on ice this season. When that top line was really in its heyday, he was playing about 18 minutes partially due to the fact that the Stars had no other trio that could match them, and they provided 70% of the offense. He's got some help. The Stars have some depth with Duchene coming in, and really all their acquisitions have helped give them a spurt offensively. But Roope still leads the way, 22 goals this season and 23 assists, and just such a good penalty killer too. His ability to win draws helps in that department. But a few times this season where he's taking the body, he's sacrificing the body to get a block, to clear, to make a play for somebody else. And it's just noticeable every single night. And it does not go unseen here on Locked On Stars. And we have to show him some love. I feel like we've been giving a ton of love to Wyatt Johnston lately, but the common denominator is Roope Hintz. He's always the top line center, and he's one of the best in the National Hockey League. He's not Connor McDavid by any means, or Nathan McKinnon, but maybe he's closer to them than a lot of people would agree. Maybe he's a bit closer to that. I kind of use that with Miro too, where people always think that Cale Makar is, the top tier of defensemen. And I'm not arguing that by any means, but I think Miro is closer to Miro Heiskanen, or to closer to Cale Makar than he is the second tier. Is kind of how I would put it. And I think Roope Hintz deserves to be in that conversation, but I don't hate him being one of the most underrated. It just seems like he's never the talk of the town, so to speak, when the Stars get brought up. It's Matt Duchene, and rightfully so, okay? And Jason Robertson not having the goal-scoring year, but he leads the team in points with 49. So rightfully so, those guys are getting recognized, but Roope Hintz needs some love. Okay, so we're gonna do that here on Locked On Stars. What a great year! He's the common denominator, folks. He's the common denominator. He's always on that top line, no matter who they flop out on the wings. Number 24 is there driving the play, which is such a great sign and so awesome. And if he stays healthy, man, he's gonna hit 40 goals this season. It's gonna happen. It has to. It has to for Roope Hintz. Okay, let's segue in to the Anaheim Ducks. The Stars and Ducks have not met for a while, but the Stars got them in round one. See how they fare tonight at the American Airlines Center, and we will do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL regular season has wrapped up, and we are in the playoffs. Stars fans, the championship games are here. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Baltimore Ravens, the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Detroit Lions, because, of course, in my lifetime, the Detroit Lions have to make an NFC championship before the Dallas Cowboys. I will forever be salty, and I don't care. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there's so many different ways to make money and bet. You have live same-game parlays. Find bets in the new Explore tab, and you can make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find those popular parlays. And there's so much more. Make a parlay for a game. Patrick Mahomes over 300 passing yards. Maybe you do Lamar Jackson over 2 rushing touchdowns. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but so many ways to make money. Go ahead and use FanDuel if you have not already. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to make that first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Be sure to check out Locked On Sports Today on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to them, especially if you want some talk regarding the championship games this weekend. They have you covered every single day. The first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Be sure to subscribe to Locked On Stars too. I like to provide content, maybe not about championship games right now, but eventually the Stars are going to get to some very meaningful games. And of course, I got you, and we will talk about them till we can't no more. So the Anaheim Ducks, they've been struggling as of late, but they did pick up a win against Buffalo, and they are amongst the worst in the National Hockey League. And I did touch on, I believe this week, it may have been last week, that the Stars have been absolutely stellar against some of the worst teams in the league this season, which is a good sign because a year ago they really struggled against some of the bottom feeders, and that can be so infuriating. But Anaheim 16-30-1 this year through 47 games. The Stars beat them 3-2 on the road in the third game of the season. And if you recall, it was one of the most dominating periods of the year too for Anaheim. I'll have to take a look at the shots on goal in that first game, but it was very reminiscent of the first period, or second period, I should say, for the Stars against the Red Wings the other night. But Dallas scored a couple of power play goals. Miro had a few goals in the game to take down the Ducks on the road 3-2. I think they were outshot 16-3. For some reason, it's not letting me pull it up on the NHL app. This NHL app, all the changes. Just why did they change it? It was fine the way it was. But anyways, they're 3-7 in their last 10. Of course, very young, very talented, but the Stars have the advantage in a lot of areas. The power play, 23%. Ducks are at 19. Their penalty kill, one of the bottom third worst in the National Hockey League for the Ducks at 77%. The Stars have had a remarkable penalty kill until the other night against Detroit when they got rung up for 3. So we'll see how that all plays out. But since it's been a while, we'll touch on some numbers for the Ducks. Frank Vetrano, good veteran, 34 points in 47 games. They have been dealing with some injuries this season too. So Zegras has only played in 20 games and only has 7 points this year. Troy Terry, I love as a player. I really, really enjoy watching him. 32 points in 44 games this season. It's been a lot of their veterans that are kind of getting the job done this season. Cam Fowler and Ryan Strome. And then you have the young guys mixed in there like Mason McTavish, who was a really exciting rookie a season ago. He's following up that very nicely. But the Ducks are not having a good season, to say the least. Stars hopefully will not have a ton of problems with the Ducks. They really struggle at 5-on-5. Their Corsi percentage, 47%. So the Stars can really, really take advantage at even strength. And I would expect this top line to have a field day with this Ducks squad. Hopefully they can just have a dominant performance and cruise to victory, maybe a second period like they had against Detroit, but not trying to cough up a lead late. Oh my goodness, they just love to make it entertaining. And Stars fans have got their money's worth at home this season. But Dallas taking on the Ducks. Miro Heiskanen may be back. That may be already announced why you're listening to this today, but we'll have to see. We'll get an update on Craig Smith as well. He, of course, left Sunday's game against New York with an injury, did not play in Detroit. We'll have an update on him. If he's not ready to go, then Ty Dellandrea should be back in. But Miro Heiskanen, that is the big news. It looks like he's ready to go. Jim Neal did say if it was a playoff game, he would have played. So maybe they want to be extra cautious and give him like a week off, because you have 9 days, including the All-Star break here in the next few days. So maybe they just don't want to rush him back because they've been fine. And frankly, you should be able to win a few of these games without Miro Heiskanen, but maybe he should get back in and get him back up to game speed a bit before you hit that break. So that will be such good news when Miro Heiskanen returns. Hallelujah. Because he has such an impact on all areas of the ice. And you know that, I know that, everybody else knows that. When Miro Heiskanen's in the lineup, the Dallas Stars are better. So cannot wait for the return of number 4. But Stars should not have any issues with the Anaheim Ducks. So prepare for the Stars to have issues tonight. That just seems to be the way that it goes. Let's go Mason Marchment. I want to see him score in back-to-back games. 15 goals this season, 34 points in 46 games. He's having a really, really good bounce back season because he had such a tough time finding the back of the net a year ago. And he got off to such a terrific start that we were all hoping it was going to just be like one of those years where he just goes off. But he's having a great year. Looks like he's going to completely destroy his career high in points. He had 47 in Florida a couple of seasons ago, and that was in 54 games. He has 34 here in 46 games. So you would think that he's going to pass that. Scored a great goal on Tuesday against Detroit, a fun one too, coming across the line. And once again, that trio, the Duchene, Seguin, and Marchment, gets like a wide open net. How many times they get these backdoor passes and all they got to do is put it home? Alex Lyon did not play it great. I'll give you that because Marchment just put it off of him and then it kind of pinballed in. But hey, it counts either way. They don't ask out. They ask how many. So let's talk about the Texas Stars here. That's my segue into this. It's been a very, very tough month. I'll have to tell you more in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is also brought to you by Indeed. Indeed is driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your hiring and matching platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. So join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. So, an update down on the farm. It's been a while since we've talked about the Texas Stars. I think the last segment I did on them was when they announced the Texas Stars were sending 4 to the AHL All-Star game. 3 players and, of course, the coach. But it has not been a pretty sight in the month of January for the Texas Stars. They've just won one game in the month. That was a 4-1 victory over Rockford early in January, but they're now on a 6-game losing streak. They're out of first place in the Central Division for the first time this season, and they trailed the Milwaukee Admirals by 8 points. They've lost 6 straight, and it really hasn't been because of lack of production per se, because maybe you would think, well, Stankoven and Bourque are finally getting figured out. Teams are taking them away. That really hasn't been the case, at least during this losing streak. Stankoven's on a 3-game point streak. He's been perfectly fine. Mavrik Bourque hasn't been as deadly, but he's still being very productive, and they're both at the top of the AHL in scoring. Stankoven actually surpassed Bourque. He has 47 points now on the year, and both of them are still being productive. They're finding a way to score. It's been goaltending that has kind of snake bitten them. Remy Poirier has started in the majority of the games lately, and it hasn't been a very pretty sight, so to speak. He's given up at least 3 or more in his last 3 starts. He gave up 4 the other night, then 3, and then he gave up 5. Matt Murray, who's down with the Texas Stars as well, has had a few outings to forget too, but goaltending and defense has kind of hurt the Texas Stars, at least in the month. They've given up 5 twice to Milwaukee. They've given up 5 a couple of times to Rockford. So they have not been as shut down defensively, at least in the month of January. And they're probably happy to be getting down the home stretch of this month too. And finally moving on to February, because they could certainly need a reset. But figured I would do a bit of an update since it's been a while. But Bourque and Stankoven are finding a way to get it done, which is no surprise. So Bourque with 46 points in 37 games this season. In his last 10 games, he has 12 points. He's been so good. Stankoven, the beat goes on for him. Just a matter of time before those two get called up. And I see someone in the comments all the time, when are they going to bring up those top scores? They can't do it right now with the cap space. I would not be surprised if they get called up by the end of the season. I would also not be surprised if they do not get called up. The Stars have a lot of pieces. Maybe something changes at the trade deadline when they have to get rid of some guys. Maybe that opens up a spot for somebody. Who knows? A lot can change in the next month and a half or so about this Stars team. I would probably bet it's not going to look like it is right now. And I hope it wouldn't. Otherwise, the Stars are going to have massive issues, I think, when it comes to winning games that truly matter come springtime. So there's just a quick update for you down on the farm with the Texas Stars trying to get back on track after a tough month in a 6-game losing streak. All righty, that wraps up today's episode of Locked On Stars. Stars taking on the Ducks tonight at 7 p.m. You can catch the hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. All you have to do is search Stars and you can find it there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on Roope Hintz. Let me know your predictions for the game tonight. And of course, always appreciate the love and support. Be sure to follow me on the Twitter thing, JoeyTheJet19. Follow Locked On Stars on Twitter too. We'll talk about the game. We'll break it down tomorrow. Cannot wait to catch you there. For now, have a wonderful Thursday. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow. So long, Stars fans.